love it. It's me, Capri. My mommy is the best. Super mom, love it. She helps mommy get their smiles back, their giggles back, and their sparkle back. You wait for the show. Brush. Get ready for It's Super Slowly and Super Strong.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another exciting of Healing for the Soul podcast, with this being season number 6, episode number 8. If you are ever looking for a virtual assistant who can edit your social media content, grow your social medias, book clients, and much more that all businesses require, I highly recommend Sphere Rocket for all your virtual assistant needs. The link to Sphere Rocket is at the bottom of this episode. And before we get started, I am your host, Robin Stoltman, and every week I feature different guests to help you become the best version of yourself through different methods you may not have heard of or thought of. So make sure to subscribe and keep coming back for more. And today I have my guest, Mark Fox, who is an entrepreneur, a scientist, an engineer, an author, a creative thinking consultant, a crop formation researcher, and a former space shuttle chief engineer, a hot air balloonist for 35 years, and he built his own plane. How cool is that? I'm just saying. He is also the inventor of Vibe, the world's only pocket PEMF device with the most common ailments in people and pets. Let's get started, and thank you so much, Mark, for being here with our audience today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Ballooning's been 37 years now. That's how old I'm getting.
Well, I think that's fascinating. I've always wondered about like hot air balloons and how they work and all of that. And at the same time, I'm like, I kind of like to stay on the ground and make sure that I'm still here.
Right.
I'm just saying.
They're fun.
So, Mark, you've had such an impressive career as an entrepreneur, the foremost space shuttle chief engineer. How do you personally define success, and how has that definition evolved over the years?
Yeah, I mean, when you're younger in the rocket world, some success is measured by what you think is like, do I get promoted? And you're competing, after the Space Shuttle Challenger, we had like 2,000 engineers we hired. Everyone's competing with everybody else, So yeah, over time, right, your measurement of success changes. Right now, for me, it's probably more of growing the current business. I never thought I'd be in the health and wellness space ever, but just seeing how much it's helping people and pets and dogs and cats and horses, and it's literally life-changing for a lot of people. It's because when I spent a bunch of my wife's retirement money trying to launch this program. We weren't making any money, but what gets you up in the morning, keep coming back, as you see what it's actually doing to really help people. I mean, and when we hire like customer service operations people, we kind of tell them it's going to be super rewarding, but these are real people that have trauma. They've been in car wrecks. They've been beat up. Life has happened to them and stuff. So it's real people that you're talking to, which has got its ups and downs, because you get your own trauma from listening to other people's trauma, but then you're helping them at the same time. So that's really rewarding.
I can definitely understand that one. That's happened a lot with myself with the hypnotherapy world. It's one of those things that makes you either think that you're really super crazy or really super thankful that you're not the one having to experience what they've gone through.
Right. Exactly.
And at the same time, it's like this equipment. Is it equipment that you're talking about, like for this Rasana Health, or what is that? Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, the main product we have looks like this. It looks kind of like an old iPod on purpose. I designed it that way so it would look familiar to people. But you just, you scroll the protocol you want. It's got 59 different ones on it. You press play and you put it in your pocket, or you just wear it with a lanyard around your neck. And it's putting out a pulse electromagnetic field. That's PEMF, is what you said earlier. Magnetic therapy has been around since Plato, literally. Plato wrote about 3,500 years ago, or whatever it was. And it was discovered mainly around Tesla's time in the 1900s that pulse electromagnetic fields instead of static magnets are much more therapeutic, both mentally and physically. So in the early 1900s, there's tons and tons and tons of research going on. And then these two guys named Rockefeller and Carnegie screwed it all up. Okay. So Rockefeller owned all the oil, Standard Oil, and he figured out how to make drugs out of oil. So him and Carnegie, together they own the whole medical landscape. They're like, hey, if you're not doing surgery or drugs, we're going to pull your medical licenses, the equivalent of it at the time, and we're not going to fund your universities anymore for research. So it's really stupid that the human body, animals, dogs, cats, horses, they're chemical, they're electrical, and they're mechanical. You can't take one of those out and have a whole body experience. So only in the United States do we decide we're not going to do electrical therapy anymore. Every other country kept doing it, but we got way behind. So it's starting to pick up traction again quickly. Actually, it's exponential growth. So that part's exciting, that it's energy therapy. It's not real woo-woo. We can get into the simplest way to explain is everything in the world happens with an energy exchange. Okay. You either you breathe oxygen, right? You eat food, you digest it, your car runs on gasoline, you fall down and hurt yourself. You pull a tooth, right? So everything is an energy exchange. This is just putting good energy into your body. So the cells in your body have an electrical charge. And when that, like a car battery, and that voltage gets low, you get sick. So it recharges your cells' batteries. And ATP, which is the main chemical that your cells use for food, it increases ATP up to 500%. So the two main things it's doing is recharging your cells, giving your cells more food so your body can do what it does best, which is heal itself.
Yeah, it definitely can heal itself. And that's a lot of things that I have noticed is that as I've left more of the traditional talk to traditional medications, traditional everything, when I have had to go back to it, for some reason, it's not just talk therapy. You'd have to pay me to go back to that. Even then, it wouldn't be enough. But I'm just saying, for me, I'm like, our bodies know how to heal itself. But it's like when I've gotten, like for antibiotic, for example, my body, it's like it's gotten to the point where it just rejects it. And I was actually wondering, with this device that you're talking about, everything that you know about like the body's ability to heal itself, I'm almost wondering at the same time if that's because the body gets so used to healing itself on its own that the second it does need help, then that's when the body starts like, why are we using this? Like, we know how to heal. Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah.
Sorry if it doesn't.
Well, yes. And most people that'll come find this technology, doctor's not going to normally tell them about it, although that's changing a little bit, right? But most of them are going to be, I'm going to do whatever the American Medical Association says, right?
Yeah, most of them, yep.
Right. So, but most people that come to this are either mentally or physically, usually both, in long-term pain. So the drugs are stuff the body doesn't like it, is what you were saying there. They got side effects that are awful. And everyone knows that. You look at the 6 o'clock news and it's like, you listen to all the side effects about anal bleeding and passing out and death and heart attacks. And you're like, what is this drug even for? I don't even remember what the commercial was, except all the bad stuff, right? So it's like, we do that every night. Me and my wife joke and go, what is this one even for? Because this is nothing but side effects. And it's like, so yes, people will come find that because the solution their doctor gave them isn't working, right? So your body doesn't like that. Your body wasn't designed to have all these. I read this stat the other day, which is frightening. The average American is on 4 medications.
No wonder why my doctor complained when I'm not on any. I'm just like, I'm on vitamins. I used to be on a ton of them, and then I got off of them because I'm like, this isn't helping. Like, what is this doing? Right. And it's when I kept asking, what is this going to do long term? They don't like that. I've learned that with doctors. They don't like when you ask long term.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then nobody knows long term for anything. I get that too. It's like people go, hey, will this interfere with my 8 drugs I'm taking and my amorous crystal and my voodoo doll and my incense? I'm like, I don't know. Nobody's tested all those different things together. It's like, use some common sense. But yeah, nobody's tested just a combination of the 4 drugs, right, that everyone's on. So
no, they haven't. But no, I like that because like I remember having like the magnetic bracelets. That's what I was almost wondering, like if that's similar, because it's like if you do use a magnet, have like the copper bracelets is what I was thinking of too. Like I've tried the copper, I've tried the magnet ones, and then there's even a stone, hematite, that's what it is. And I've noticed like they have different aspects of them. I'm kind of wondering, is this device similar to those?
It's similar in that it's magnetic field, but as I said earlier, a pulse electromagnetic field is just much, much more therapeutic than a static one, which all the ones you mentioned are static. And it's not woo-woo because the Earth is putting out PEMF all the time.
Yeah, constantly, yes.
Constantly. It's the Schumann frequencies at 7.83 hertz and 20.1, 14.3, I think. And if, we haven't tested this, and rightfully so, we'd probably all be dead if we didn't have the Earth's frequencies. I mean, that energy is putting energy in our body, and everyone knows about grounding to get the bad stuff out, and the PEMF is putting good stuff in. I got my feet on a grounding mat right now. And, I'm a rocket scientist. I'm skeptical as hell. First time I heard about these, I'm like, that's a bunch of crap. Now there's 22 double-blind studies been done on earthing. It's real. So
I love the earthing mats. Those are so extremely helpful. It's like I've told people, I'm like, they're equivalent to going outside and just getting your hands in dirt, but without having to get the dirt.
Right.
And
exactly.
It's really weird, but I mean, like, it helps with like the restless leg. It helps with a lot of things. So that's what I'm thinking. Does this device help with that too? In a way, like for what we're talking about as far as like the grounding, the earthing mats, and
so
the magnetics you said that I was talking about was static. So that's not going to change. But what yours is giving it back?
So it's putting energy. It's recharging cells, batteries, and it's creating ATP. But the reason we have earth frequency on here, all three of them that I just mentioned, the reason they're on here is for that, is so you can get grounding without having to go outside. If you're stuck with shoes on, run earth 7.83. The theory is, and we don't have a ton of test data on it, is that it's doing the equivalent, probably not as well as bare feet in the grass, but it's better than nothing, right? When you're sitting at a computer and I don't have shoes on right now, so I'm getting the earth grounding mat, so it's working for me. But if you're in an office and you can't be shoeless and stuff, so run the earth frequency. And the theory is, yes, you're getting some of the grounding benefits.
That is awesome. Because I know I've told quite a few people about it. Like when I started getting like the earthing mats, and then I got in the book on it that came with it, and I'm like, this is really fascinating. Because I almost wonder, like, for the inflammation, because I've dealt with that and I have it, and I'm like, there has to be a natural way to get rid of it. And all the doctors say was your diet. And I'm like, my diet is as healthy as it can get. Yeah. I'm not the one that's doing all the junk food and all this stuff, but it's like, at the same time, it's like one of those, why do we have to take vitamins? It's because the food that we got in the store is not healthy. Even if you get like the apples, the oranges, all that stuff, like what we eat all the time, it doesn't have all the nutrients that it has because of all the chemicals. I think that's what takes it out.
Right.
I'm not a scientist to know, but I'm pretty sure like that's what's going on.
No, it is. That's a big problem, pesticides and all the other stuff. But it's like the less processed food you can have, everyone knows is better for you.
Yeah.
The only thing about fruit, in my opinion, you got to be careful on is the amount of sugar in some fruit, even though it's natural. And then people go, well, the fruit's been around for a million years. No, it hasn't. An apple a long time ago was a little tiny thing that didn't have any sugar in it. It wasn't this red delicious thing the size of a basketball. Okay, they didn't have those back in generations and generations ago. So it's anyway, I'm not a dietitian either. I'm not a doctor. I'm a rocket scientist. This is and I'm skeptical about all this stuff, but I've been studying it for 27 years, and there's just too much data that says it's working. Not 100%. And I'll tell you, I believe this. Mm-hmm. The number one reason it won't work for you is you already have your mind made up it won't. So
that is true. Belief is everything.
It's not the placebo effect, it's the nocebo effect, and it's real and it's been studied. And it's almost like, because we get 300 emails a day as of today, right? From potential customers. I don't want to be rude, but I almost want to say, you just asked me about the return policy 4 times before you ordered it. Refund, who's covering this? It's like, just don't buy it. You've already made up your mind. It's not going to help you. We're going to waste each other's time, just unless you're going to change your mindset, right? It may not help you. But our success rate is, like the published, it's like 97%. So it's super frustrating. You said about how to measure success. I want to keep that rate going up because it kills me personally when it doesn't work for somebody. We'll take it back. We have a money back guarantee, but work with us a little bit. So sometimes we'll extend it. It says, what is the protocol that you ran? Are you sure you didn't misdiagnose yourself? Maybe you're running the wrong one. So we've gotten people lots of times from it ain't worked for me to it works. I've done it myself, right? I thought I had sciatica, which I never had in my life. And I kept running sciatica and it wasn't doing anything. I'm like, wait a minute. I live in Cocoa Beach, Florida. I was walking on the beach, which I'm going to go do after this podcast, get my earthing in, is a ball was going to wash out into the ocean and the family wasn't paying attention. They're in the ocean. So I kicked it back up to their towel and it rolled back. I kicked again, it rolled back. So I kicked as hard as I could and it went flying up there. But then I realized my foot went numb. I forgot about that. So I pulled tendons or muscles or something in my leg. So I ran general inflammation and tendonitis and stuff on, and then it went away. So I misdiagnosed myself with sciatica. That wasn't what it was. So, and you said general inflammation, 80% of all disease is inflammation related. So the most popular program we have on there, besides PTSD and anxiety, is just general inflammation. And people email us all the time, hey, do you have anything for RSMJ? I'm like, I don't know what that is. And you go Google it and you're like, you can't unsee the pictures. And you're like, okay, that's inflammation of whatever. And so you do run general inflammation, and a lot of times it helps.
Oh, that's good to know then. Because, like I said, I know like the doctor's like, there's only one inflammatory diet. And I'm like, well, I'm already doing those things. And Google doesn't know everything.
No. In general, do general inflammation and brain balancing, because in the clinical practice, brain balancing used to be called concussion, but it does so much more than concussion. It's a thing that they just, they do. You just do brain balance. The most insane story that I have, and I have thousands of them, but the most insane one, if this doesn't raise the arm on the hair on your arm, you're not human. Okay. A 17-year-old girl said, Mark, I'll never have a date in my life because I have Tourette's. All the boys think I'm a monster in school. They all hate me because I'm a freak. I ran the brain balancing protocol. My Tourette's disappeared and I have a date Saturday night. And then she got engaged to the guy. Now, I didn't tell her to run brain balancing. She just said, give it a shot. It can't hurt, and see if it works. So we have lots of miracle stories like that are pretty cool.
Wow. That is awesome. That is amazing. So do you got one for stress on there? Because I know like a lot of especially when you're a high achiever, you deal with a lot of stress, a lot of different things coming at you. And that's what I was thinking. A lot of people would be dealing with a lot of the heavy stress. So
the number one ailment in all people and animals across the planet Earth is anxiety. Okay. So we have the system we put together is there's a relax and balance protocol specifically for that. There's one for anxiety, and there's one for vagus nerve toning. So we have an article that says you run all three of those and figure out which one works best for you. And there's a small percentage of the population that the anxiety protocol makes them a little more anxious. But then when they run relax and balance or vagus nerve toning, it takes the anxiety down. So we have a procedure that's on our website that says, try these three. It has to do with nervousness, anxiousness, and the list of things that cause that, right? I mean, we've all heard this, right? Most people would rather die than get on stage and speak, right?
Oh yeah, that's the number one fear is public speaking.
Speak for most people. Yeah, and I did it for a living, but it's like your first several times I had to do that in front of NASA and stuff. And you're shaking and scaring you to death, right? It's like, and there's no rash. My friend and he has super anxiety too, and he's a public speaker. He goes, here's a trick, Mark. When you get on stage, you just picture everyone in the audience naked. And then it just makes you start laughing and you relax.
True. That's one way to do it. Hypnosis is another way, but mine, I'm like, I love public speaking. I could do it all day long. It's just trying to get it out there, what you want to focus on and be known for. But no, I appreciate knowing that too, because I know like the vagal nerve, that controls a lot. Isn't that the longest running nerve in the human body too at the same time?
Yes. So it's I think it's called the 10th cranial nerve, but it's in your brain. It comes down both sides of your neck, and then
on both sides?
Both sides of your neck for both people and horses. Yes. So, and then it clusters around your heart, and then it goes to all your organs. It is the one most important thing in your body that allows the brain to talk to the organs and the organs to talk to the brain. So it goes both directions. It's a super highway of information. And if you get that toned correctly, and that's why we have the new product is been out a month, is a vagus nerve stimulator, and it's a pendant that you wear as a necklace.
Wow.
So this one, I try to make it so easy. You turn it on, you pick one of the 59 protocols, you hit play in your pocket. This one is 100% idiot proof. It's got an on button.
I love that.
You can't do anything else but turn it on and wear it. It's like one of my designers like, we need to add 3 different levels. We ain't doing any of that. We're going to make this absolutely nothing. I mean, I felt stupid making the instruction video because I'm like, what do I even say? Turn it on and you wear it. Any questions? Right, here's how you charge it. But anyway, I stayed away from the vagus nerve for years because I didn't understand it, and I'm not a doctor, as I said. But there's so much research out there now of how powerful that is, that if you get that tone right, it fixes everything. Sleep, anxiety, depression, it does. We just finished a third independent party clinical trial on this vagus nerve, the thing I just showed you. And we also did it with this as well. Heart rates come down. Heart rate variability goes up, which if people aren't familiar with it, that means good.
Yeah, that does.
Your fight or flight and everything, you're more balanced, you're more in tune. And we increased heart rate variability up to 58% in 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, which is one session. So we don't even have the data yet to see what happens if they run it every day or every other day for a month. We're running that study right now. Just feeling a well-being, less anxiety, just more comfortable, all that stuff. So, and all of that was statistically significant, which is super exciting. It was interesting because we had 3 different protocols I wrote, and the good news was, this is last Christmas time, all of them worked. And it's like, but they all worked a little bit different on whatever you were measuring. So it was very hard to figure out which one to pick. So the one we picked was the one that raised heart rate variability the most. And most people can measure that. You prove it to yourself with a Fitbit or Apple Watch or your Oura rings, or a lot of people have heart rate variability. And it's funny because
HeartMath. I use the HeartMath one.
Okay, yeah. And I asked the doctor, the reason I hired him, I go, heart rate variability is like one of the most important things to, he goes, which kind of heart rate variability? I go, what does that mean? He goes, there's about 5 different kinds. I'm like, the SDNN, yes. So mathematically, how you measure them and stuff. One's best for short term, look at one's longer term. So anyway, we went through all of that and picked the one where most of it's the most important one. And fortunately, it's the most common measurement on wearable devices. I think I said it right, SDNN. I might have that acronym screwed up a little, but it's close.
Oh no, that is awesome though, because like I'm excited thinking about it, because I was thinking like the vagal nerve, like even that, like it's gonna affect the organs. So like I'm even thinking that if there's something wrong with like the vagal nerve, say like your neck has lost its curve for an example, and it's just straight, and then that would affect the organs throughout the body as far, well, it affect the heart, it affect all the major organs within the body. And then so once that all of those pieces working together, like for having neck issues, because a lot of people, they put the weight of the world on their shoulders. That's why they have the shoulder pain, the stress. And so I'm thinking that would affect the vagal nerve the most, is just like what I'm thinking. But now at the same time, you said that this new device, I like that simple stupid one that I can't remember the name of that one, but
Vega Vibe. So Vegas Nerve Vibe.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking that one just came out. If people had to choose between the two, what one would you recommend first? For a person to try. If they're if they're skeptical, they probably shouldn't buy it. That's just easy there. But then at the same time, what one would you recommend?
And this isn't staged. It's funny. I just wrote the article to explain which one do I buy, because customers are asking me that. It depends. I mean, the Vibe itself is going to have more versatility. It's got 59 different protocols. There's more things to choose from. The Vibe is vagus nerve only, but only is the wrong word because it's super powerful. But it's a piece of jewelry, so you can wear it anyway outside, right? So it's a pendant. It looks like, I wanted to make it smaller, but that's where we already had to go through some insane technology to get it into the right waveforms from MP3 files and all that stuff to get it that small. But so Vibe has more selections. The Vega Vibe is more trendy and less noticeable. And I always thought about this, like, I don't want it to draw attention, but I do want it to draw attention. I want people to go, what is that? So I can sell more of them, right? And get more people's hands. So they both have advantages. The other thing, on the vagus nerve, so a horse has one too, goes down both sides of his neck. So we have basically a cell phone holder with a 30-inch electric strap to go around a horse's neck. So it's in the PEMF world. If you went around, man on the street with a microphone, you go, hey, have you ever heard of PEMF? About 1 out of 15, 1 out of 20 people is going to say yes, because they know of a beamer mat or something that acupuncturist or their spa or their chiropractor. In the horse world, every horse owner knows what it is, because they know what a magna wave is. It's this $15,000 machine that their vet
Wow.
carries out to the barn and treats their horse. So I have the ongoing bet I have with my avatar. My avatar is a 52-year-old cowgirl. Okay. And they're all like, Mark, this little 2.4 ounce device isn't going to do crap on a 1,000-pound animal. I'm like, you want to bet? Actually, horses are more sensitive than humans to electric fields. And
Really?
so, yes. Anyone that has a horse owner knows how sensitive they are to energy, right? They know when a lightning storm's coming along before you.
Oh, true. Yeah, they do. And then like no different than like cats. Well, I guess cats probably. I got just cats
All
right
animals
now.
Yeah, all animals. Yeah, we've had a huge success rate. We've only been kind of marketing it to horse owners for 4 or 5 months, and I think I've had 2 returns out of a few thousand, right? So it's working. And if I was devious, because all they come back and said, I know when my horse is happy by how they have their ears and whether they start licking, right? So it's like if they're licking, they're happy, and so it's a huge thing. Think about this with anxiety, which is the biggest stress, right? Horse owners get nervous a week before they have to put the horse in the trailer to travel, because it's like, I got to deal with the horse. It's going to be upset. So they're already worried a week. So use on yourself. Then when you use on your horse, get him in the trailer, let it run while you're going cross country in the trailer. And we've gotten tons of feedback. The horses are way more relaxed. So a horse is going to be relaxed and balanced, anxiety, sometimes depression. That's a huge one that we're learning. Yeah, when they're in pods and a horse dies, when they're buddies, they all get depressed. So some of these sanctuaries and stuff where they have 20, 30 horses, or a horse owner that has multiple ones and they lose one of their horse family members, the other horses don't want to eat, they're upset, they do anxious, depressed stuff, right? And another big one, and just general information, because you're riding them, arthritis, of course, is a big one for horses, and asthma, actually. And so horses, we probably have 6 cases of asthma where the owner freaks out because they've been seeing their horse struggling to breathe, and then in 3 minutes, 5 minutes, they're breathing better. It's that fast on asthma for most cases, even with people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And then I'm thinking too, like, I've only seen one depressed case, my own self with cats, because I had one girl cat, her name was Sadie. She's lived 18 years and 4 months. The other one, well, when she had passed, then the other cat that she was with that was 18 years old, in 2 months when she had passed. But I seen like the decline in the one that was remaining. Like it took her took her about 6 months before she just finally gave up on life altogether. And it was really sad, but it's like I didn't know how to help her. Well, then I had another cat, and they were my girls. So I'm like, they were my girls. They were not cats. Like a cat now. There's a difference between them. I'm just saying. But then it's like I noticed like my male cat, and he was maybe about 10 years old at this time. And it was really fascinating because I've never seen a cat lay sprawled out on their back, just like he was depressed. And you could see that he was depressed. I never seen that in any animal before. So then I'm thinking, well, something like this would help them when they're going through that loss, because I didn't know how to handle it. I'm just like, I knew get another animal. Now I got cats. They're cats now. I call these ones cats now because they get into everything. They do cat stuff. My girls never got into anything. They were perfect. I'm just saying.
No, it's like with, I just show you the harness for horses. So with dogs, we have a bandana. So it's a bandana that it fits in. And at the end of the month, we're going to have these dog harnesses that are custom made to put the device in there. Cats are a little harder to put on them, but here's the interesting thing. A cat will just go lay on it. If they don't lay on it, you're running the wrong protocol. I have one friend that has a cat that has severe kidney problems, and if you take it away from her, she screams. She goes,
wow.
Or she'll go find the owner when the program ends because she likes it so much. She'll go over there and start bothering the owner. Come back, turn this thing on again. Yeah, it's interesting. Dogs and cats will go lay on it.
Well, that's good to know though, because it's like as an owner, it's like you get frustrated sometimes because you know that they're in pain, but they can't speak to tell you. And it's like they can tell you in their own language, but I don't speak cat or dog. Really, no.
Not real well, right?
No, I just like, that's why I said like cats there for like my example. It's like I knew that there was something, obviously, like I could tell, but it was heartbreaking because I was like, I knew I couldn't do anything to help them.
Right. Well, now you can't.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking for the people out there without having to get another cat, or in my case, cats, because one kid led to another kid for cat, and I'm just like, I got cats. But then I'm thinking you had said about for the one cat having kidney problems. Now, wouldn't that help then too for like the urinary tract issues then too at the same time for like the cats? But then it would, so this device would help for both. That's only the Vibe one that you were showing, wasn't it? That looks like the iPod, the old version.
Yeah. And it's going to be the easiest. We don't have anything designed to put that. I mean, you could put the pendant on their collar or whatever, but we designed it, the Vibe to itself, the larger one, to fit in, like I said, a bandana or a harness. But vagus nerve toning, as I said, will fix. It's the super highway, as we already said, between your brain and your organs, and you get that talking right, it'll fix a lot of magical stuff that we meaning human race, doesn't understand it yet. I mean, there's a whole bunch of research going on with vagus nerve. You're like, what? It did what? How? We don't know how it works, right?
No.
It's like, we know the basics. We think it's kind of like, and I say this to all the doctors when they go, what's your mechanism of action and how you probably go, you know what? You don't know how aspirin works either. And it's been around for 3,000 years and you don't know how any drug works. You have a theory, but you have no proof. And they go, yeah, we prove it. No, you haven't. You cannot prove how aspirin works. Morphine, none of that. You can't.
Same with antidepressants. They can't prove that either.
No, you can't prove any drug how it works. Here's the, you'll get this, but doctors don't get this, okay? When I get in this argument with them, I go, okay, do you have a microwave oven? And they go, have you ever heated a slice of pizza in your life in a microwave oven? Yeah. How does that work? And they go, now they know it's kind of a trick question. They go, I think it like bounces I go, what's the theory? The theory is you're hitting the exact frequency that is the rotational energy of a water molecule, which means the water molecule is spinning on its own axis, causing friction with the dough and the cheese. And that's what heats it up. Now, that's a theory. Nobody in the world has ever photographed or videotaped a spinning water molecule. So it may or may not be that, but you still heat your pizza and it works. So I get angry with doctors sometimes when they start beating this to death. You just go, relief before reason. As long as you're not hurting anybody, my lifetime, you'll never know how it works for sure. We already said, we know it increases ATP and the voltage on your cells because that's been measured and proven, right? But beyond that, you just start speculating and it doesn't matter. And here's the argument I get with all the Facebook haters. And oh my God, Robin, do we have millions of them? Okay.
I bet.
No, it's unbelievable. It's like, okay, if I had 100 million, we have lots of studies, but if I had 100 million double-blind studies, 100 million of them, it's never going to be 100%. So it doesn't mean it's going to work for you until you try it. And it may not work for you. I mean, morphine's only like 60% effective, right? So it's not, nothing's 100%. So get off the double-blind soapbox because it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Thank God we have a huge success rate, right? 97% or say, but just that's why you have money back guarantee. Quit overthinking it. Stop the nocebo stuff. I wrote an article, 2 articles on for the haters, right? Is boson. Yep. Boson was it's a word that a comedian in the 70s, Rich Hall, he had a whole thing where he sent in words that aren't in the dictionary but should be, and one of them was boson. It's bozo and ozone combined. It's an invisible gas that surrounds people and stops new ideas from getting in. So I wrote another article called Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire, because everyone attacks me. And I said, look at all these things that were the biggest scams in the world until they weren't. DNA sequencing, CRISPR, antibiotics, MRIs, hundreds and hundreds of technologies that are absolutely impossible. They can't be real, but now they are. And we use them every day.
Shot.
Yeah, everything, right? So it's like, keep an open mind, give it a try. It could help you, may not, but it's not, there's no risk involved, right? So anyway.
Well, yeah, no, I like that though, because that's what I deal with too, is that it's like no different than a lot of people I have learned. They don't understand how their mind operates, but yet they want to go complain about everything else in the world that's wrong. And it's like, have you ever stopped to look at the person in the mirror? Like, that's the reason why you're attracting what you don't want.
Right.
It's nobody else that's doing anything to you. It's you.
Right.
That's why I'm like, I'll be the first person to admit, like, I know that I'm the problem. That's why I'm like, I'm willing to work on it because then I can fix it. And it sounds like that's what your Rasana is doing right now, is that it's allowing a person to heal, to fix themselves without having to do all of the drugs, without having to do the usual things, which I greatly appreciate, because it's like we need more of that. And you are 100% right when it comes to Carnegie and Rockefeller. I mean, Rockefeller, he started the schools.
Right.
That's a good argument to get in with some people. I'm like, they're set up for people to work. There's a reason why. But if you study both of them, they were extremely good at manipulating people and to getting people to think the way that they wanted them to think, to teach people how to be employees and nothing less, nothing more.
Yep.
And it's like, at the same time, it's like, then when I had recently read the last couple weeks ago, I had learned about like the medication for the pharma and all of that. And it's like, I told people before World War II, we didn't have medications. They came out as World War II.
Yeah.
I'm like,
for the most part, yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, we had natural healing before then that worked. I've got books. I have found that the older the book, the better it is. For like, there's a book that I had that's Natural Cures for Depression, for example. That's written in the 80s. We've had the cure the whole time. You don't need to pop the pill. You need to change the environment. You need to change your mind. You need to change other things. But I'm thinking like your tool would be extremely helpful because they're giving the cells that energy to recharge itself, because a lot of people don't have. I've done the average American diet I can only handle it for about 2 days, so then I'm already sick. I'm just saying, I've done it a couple of times, and I'm like, if this is how people live, they 100% deserve what the consequences are. But I mean, like, I've never done energy drinks. I'm not gonna go there. I value myself enough, but I'm just saying, like, when you think about that, it's like that device that you have would greatly help somebody who is stuck in that typical American unhealthy diet, because their cells are killing them through their food that they're eating, and then they're not able to recharge because if they're busy at work all day, on the phone all day, they're not going to know to go, hey, I got to go recharge my body. And a lot of people think it's just sleep that recharges, but it's not just sleep.
Yeah, one thing you said there too about bad diet and stuff, or any quote addiction, because snacking on potato chips is still an addiction. The resolve so sulfur frequencies on there, 417 hertz. We've got a lot of success with addiction for cigarette smoking, drinking, eating too many potato chips. My friend was over here last night. I've known since kindergarten. I'm like, she goes, I keep snacking all the time. Giving you this device before, run 417. And she even said today, she goes, I didn't even realize that, but I haven't had a craving to snack today because she ran it this morning. Like, right, it works.
That's awesome. I was actually wondering, how long does a person need to run this device? And and how good is it for, as far as, do you run it every day? What's the typical protocol?
Yeah, so that you're going to run the program as long as the program is. They average about 40 minutes. The shortest is 30. The longest is 2.5 hours. We tell everyone 3 to 4 times a week for 30 days. If it doesn't help you by then, it's not going to, because you lied to me and you didn't use it, which is one of the number one causes, or you got the wrong protocol, or it's just not going to work for you. So let's try a different protocol, or it's just not going to work for you. But so that's what we tell people, because that's what it came from the clinical environment of how many times you go visit the doctor before the doctor goes, this isn't working. That's about what it ends up to, 12, 50 times. So
true.
Now
they've told you how many times, quit the energy drinks, quit the crap, and then you're still doing it.
I'm still doing it. And but what happens is kind of interesting is, again, people that have long-term physical or mental pain are the ones that usually find this. So when it helps them, they don't want to experiment on themselves like, hey, if I cut back to only 3 times a week, do I still feel good? They just run it every day because it's so convenient and easy to put in the pocket. And it's like, I have one friend who's an ex-race car driver. He has 4 concussions in his life and he's been on fire twice. He's taken 8 Ambien a night for like 15 years. He's not taken any Ambien. So he has like 15 of these things, 14 of them. He's running them all the time. I'm like, his name's Mark too. Mark, you don't need to do it that much, because I don't care what you say. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because it's working, right? So people don't want to go test it. And yes, there's a whole bunch of psychology around that we could dive into, but we quite don't have time because there's a whole thing about people don't remember how bad they felt 30 days ago. So we actually have quite a few customers say it didn't work for me. Send it in like, huh. And the biggest one with PTSD, our score is like, it's a Veterans Administration, it's 0 to 80. And I'll have people, Rob, and go, yeah, I'm not sure it really helped, maybe a little bit. And I go, so I get them on a Zoom call like this. I go, you reported a 72 out of 80. That is astronomical. You just reported a 12. You went from a 72, you self-reported, to a 12. And then they start crying on the call because they forgot. When I put it in their face, you're the one self-reported this, not me. And they're like, oh, and they forgot how bad they felt. I think my theory, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, that's how you women can have more than one baby. You forgot how painful it was before.
Oh, come on now. They've done studies on that. I have seen that they've done studies on that one for like the oxytocin, because there's a lot of women that have never done research on C-sections. I have, because I'm going in for my 8th one in a row coming up here in the fall. So I've done the research on that. Same with the ROGAM. And there's a lot of women that have never done the research. And I'm like, you should be thankful. I'm like, it's not just cutting through 7 layers, but I'm like, you gotta be thankful for all the women and the babies that died just so that they could have the C-section. Because I'm one of them that my body's like, that baby's never coming out once they're in. I'm just saying. And so I'm like, I have to get it done. But no, they have done research though for like the oxytocin hormone. It is that extremely powerful that's why if you give birth naturally or C-section, that is, the pain is gone. Like it disappears from the brain. But I tell you, it comes back the last month. the last month before having a baby. I'm like, now I remember the shots. I remember all the other stuff I gotta go through, and I'm like, I don't want to do this.
There, because my 2 pet peeves in the world are blood pressure and cholesterol. I mean, real quick, one time I was giving a lecture presentation. I just happened to mention about salt and blood pressure, and the guy walks up to me afterwards. He goes, "You know, everything you just said about salt and blood pressure is a bunch of crap, right?" I'm like, "What?" He hands me a book. It says "Salt Your Way to Health," and he's the one that wrote it. So I dug into it. Where the whole connection of salt raising blood pressure is all BS. It's not true at all. And it's like, where did it come from? It came from the Surgeon General. They ran a study, and they gave a rat, mice, 50 times the daily allowance of salt, and their blood pressure went up 8 points. That's where we got all this crap our whole lives about salt causing blood pressure.
And eggs.
I mean, some of the drinks I drink now are these salt drinks because it's the opposite. Salt's better for you for blood pressure for most people. Anyway,
I love this though, because that's extremely helpful, because my husband, cholesterol, he's had high cholesterol. He got off the medications for it. High blood pressure and high cholesterol. We went to eating eggs and the bacon and a couple other things that we switched. Now he doesn't need it. It'll fix itself.
And first of all, again, I'm not a doctor. Don't go too deep in this.
Neither am I.
The LDL lie, the biggest lie ever in the medical world was LDL and statins, and everyone that created statins, they should all be in jail. This is Mark's opinion. It's awful the way they lied with the data. You can't do that in anything else, and it's so sickening. Anyone wants to go Google statin wars. With my doctor, I go like this. I come in. Here's what happens when I get a new doctor.
Yep.
I start talking, and I walk in, I go, time out. You're going to get a presentation before you say crap. Okay. Here's my blood pressure chart. Here's cholesterol. You need to read that. My last doctor who passed, unfortunately, was like, read the summary of the stuff I gave you. And she's like, I'm only going to do what the American Medical Association says, and I don't want to read it. So here's how I interview new doctors now. I'm 63 years old. I'm over 60. What should my blood pressure be to live the longest and healthiest? If they say 120/80, I get them to leave because they haven't done any research. For a 60-year-old, it's 140 to 150/90. Now, where'd that data come from? That came from a meta-analysis with AI that looked at 450,000 people, largest study in the world, without a doctor handpicking data. That's what it says. 140 to 150/90. If you're 120/80 and you're above 60 years old, you're going to live less. So when I show that to people, that data, here's the largest study ever done, 458,000 or whatever it was. And they're like, I'm not reading that. I'm not going to learn something new. So I get in fights with, you can tell, this is my pet peeve of mine. I said I wasn't going to get on this.
No, I go there too. That's why I said this is all interesting and fascinating though, because the average person would not know this stuff.
Dr. Ken Berry, go. He's a card, man. He's awesome. He's doing all kinds of YouTube videos. Just Google him about cholesterol. His cholesterol is 380, and people go, "What do you do when people say heart's gonna explode and you're gonna die?" He goes, "Show me the data," because there's no data that says that. So exactly what you said: beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. The whole keto diet is like drive up your cholesterol because of the fat. But argument I had with my doctor. This is how I bait him. Mm-hmm. Everyone will agree on one thing. That's it. You all agree sugar's evil. Okay. So
true.
If I go non-fat diet, it's got sugar in it. So I got to trade off sugar versus cholesterol. So I'd rather have my cholesterol a little higher than the sugar. Do you agree? My A1C is 5. Okay. And they're like, yeah, but we don't want them to both be. I'm like, no, you can't have, you got it. When it says fat free, there's something else in there and it's sugar. Normally. Fat. Get off my soapbox.
No, you're fine, because it's like sugar is one of those that I'm like, that's what causes MS. That's what causes a lot of problems.
Everything. Yeah, it causes everything.
It definitely does. And you have inspired our audience so much in this conversation. I'm 100% sure of that one. As we wrap up, could you share like one final piece of inspiration for our listeners and invite them to learn more about this Rasana at the rasana.health?
Yeah, I don't know if it's one more piece. It's what I just said is no bozone. Get the bozone out of your life. Go try it. You don't know what you don't know. There's so much of this that we're learning new stuff all the time, and give it a try. Get rid of the nocebo, right? That it ain't going to work anymore. You know, because I get all these Facebook haters, scam artists, you're stealing money from old ladies. I'm like, how am I doing that? Because I have a money back guaranteed. There's nobody that has one and it didn't work for them that I didn't give them their money back. So just go try it. If nothing else has worked for you, give it a shot. That's it.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'll let you in on a key piece of advice I've had to learn about the haters. You'll never get criticized by anyone doing less than you are, or doing more than you are is what I meant. Because I've been around millionaires and billionaires, and I can tell you not a single one of them have criticized me. It's all the people doing less work than I am that have done it.
Yeah, you got like my wife. I was taking it personally because I was trying to rationalize with them, and you just can't. And it's like all my friends, marketing friends, like Mark, just block them as soon. So I hired a lady to answer all the Facebook and Instagram comments, so my life is a lot better now. But it's like, and this is so my wife's like, how many hearts and thumbs ups do you get for each hater? I'm like 20 to 1. We'll just concentrate on that. This actually happened on Saturday.
Yep.
Her name is Doris, and something popped up on my computer when I was in the hotel, and it had a couple comments. I'm like, what? And I clicked on it. I forgot that I asked her, if you see a positive comment on Facebook, just take a screenshot of it and put in this folder. I forgot to even ask her to do that, and I never looked again. There was 230 of them on Saturday. And we've only been doing it for a couple months. So I'm like, okay, yeah, there's some good news. So we'll end on good news.
Well, no, and I appreciate that. That is awesome. So before we close our show today, what is the best way for our audience to get in contact with you?
Yeah, you said resona.health. It's short for resonance. Resona.health is the main website. There's knowledge bases on there. There's more stuff they can go do. I dropped my ebook to $1 so they can go in the shop and just get a book for $1 if they want to learn more about what we're talking about. And I didn't write it from a rocket scientist point of view because I wouldn't know how. I try to make it simple and easy and stuff for people to understand. So that's where I'd go to the website and get more information.
How about our socials? What's the best way for our audience to follow you on socials?
Well, it's a good question. I'm running so many ads right now on Facebook that just because you and I were talking, anyone listens to this are probably going to start seeing them. But
True.
We have at Razona. Zuckerberg is listening because he has all my money, right? So at Razona Health. Yeah, at Razona Health is my Instagram account. I just don't mess with that much because here's my panic today. The last 10 days have been the best 10 days the company's ever had. And now I'm scrambling for inventory because Trump screwed me over with tariffs and shipping that I can't get my stuff when I'm supposed to. It's supposed to already be here. So anyway, that's why my brain's a little scattered today. It's like, it's like we sold 4 100 packs over the weekend. And I'm like, I put a big dent in my inventory. Anyway, but things are good.
No, that's a good problem to have though.
I've been saying that, so it'd be a good problem to have when you run out of inventory, you're selling too much. And it's like, until it just happened this morning. I'm like, ruh-roh. I'm looking at the numbers going, I don't think it's going to get here in time. So I'm actually cutting back some of the ad spending an hour before this meeting because I don't want anyone. We ship the same day every day, Monday through Friday, excuse me, on the same day you order it. So.
Oh, I love that. So I want to remind our audience to be sure to subscribe and share this Healing for the Soul podcast with everyone that you know. And I highly encourage you to follow Mark Fox, our guest, as well today. And then also, I am so thankful for everybody's time and energy while listening to today's episode. And thank you, Mark, again, for being here. I greatly appreciate your time and your energy as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's all for now, folks. Make sure you submit to the proof of fun. Tap that follow button. Subscribe. Quack, quack. Bye-bye. Wow, real next time. Now you got it.